Hello, friends. We're going to talk about chipping a little bit today and how to work on your short game and your new best friend, the wiffle ball. Oh my God, the wiffle ball. The wiffle ball will enable you to practice at home, inside, in your bedroom, in your garage, wherever you're capable of practicing because you can't get golf off your mind and the driving range isn't open 24/7 and sometimes you don't have light on a chipping green, but you can always work on this. When you're watching golf at home and you're inspired and you're like, that looked like a cool shot, why don't I try that? Oh look, I have wiffle balls, I can try it at home. Seriously, I have hundreds of these just rolling around somewhere in my living room. Somehow they all manage to disappear, so you're just gonna have to keep buying new ones. But that doesn't mean that they're not enormously helpful. So we're gonna talk about wiffle balls in your living room and, for lack of a better term, the yips. How to work on your chipping, okay? Most of us out here are either really stabby or we try and do it with rotation. And both of those really expose the leading edge. And quite a few years ago, I committed to learning how to actually use the bounce properly. And that requires quite a bit of right arm, right hand, right index finger and thumb. They're practically my best friends now, and I've gotten almost completely rid of my left hand. Every once in a while, I'll grab it and I'll thin it or I'll hit it a little bit chunkier, but it's more along the lines of a bounce divot where the bounce is creating the divot and I'm still catching the ball on the face rather than it is me just laying sawed over the ball and it not going anywhere. This is probably one of the things we should all be practicing a lot more of, because who cares if you can hit the ball 350 yards, 400 yards, 280 yards, if you can drive it next to a par 4, but you can't chip it and get it within 5 feet, what's the point? So I recommend most people master the wedge, master the game. Work on your wedges, work on your 9-iron, 60 to 70% of your practice should be incorporating wedge, short game, or 100 yards and in, because I think about 43% of this game is played inside of 100 yards. So become really proficient at that and you're gonna lower your scores. Anyway, how to get rid of the yips, how to use your dominant right hand, or if you're a lefty, your dominant left hand, or if you're a lefty playing from the right side, how to use your dominant left hand in chipping. Spieth is left-handed, Mickelson is right-handed, and they're enormously awesome and amazing at utilizing the bounce with their lead hand, which requires, this angle, not that angle. Trying to create this flow action of the palms looking at the ground, releasing the bounce into the ground, letting the bounce go from the top. So I think for me, the most important element is zero left hand pulling on the club, zero rotation pulling on the club, and really just letting the club fall, or in transition, really pushing the bounce. Really feeling like you get a nice pause in transition going back and really push the bounce down and really let it flow. Soft hands, also enormously important. If we get the push down and then all of a sudden we grab down here, it's gonna kick and you're gonna blade things over the green. So it's about feeling like Tiger would say that his whole short game, practically his whole game nowadays, is all right hand. And for him, he feels like he pushes the bounce. I'm using his words from having watched so many of his tutorials, of course. He pushes the bounce and then covers with shoulder. So let the bounce release, lead with the bounce. Let the bounce be the first thing that moves down instead of pulling on the handle. Pulling on the handle makes us really steep, exposes the leading edge, and we're either gonna chunk it or blade it. Or, I used to think for a long time I was pretty good at this. I would get really steep and I would catch it on the face, but I didn't have much distance control. It would put a lot of spin on the ball, but again, I didn't have a lot of distance control. And the ability to use your right hand as your dominant hand to do this allows you to use your dominant arm and become really proficient at doing it. So I'll feel like I'm right here. I'll put all my weight in my left side and I'll really hunker down, like in my oblique, in my glute, in my abs here, to maintain the bottom point of the swing. We don't want to be shifting our weight back because that's going to change the bottom of the golf swing. And we really want to be able to bottom out right where our sternum is pointed. Sometimes we want to de-loft it and we'll move it back. Sometimes we want to add a little bit more loft, we'll add it forward. But I pretty much just play everything center for the most part. So I'll feel like I'm right here, nice zero shaft lean. I'll really hunker down right here, and then I'll just pick it up to where I think it needs to be. I'm not rolling my forearm. I'm not pulling it inside. I'm not letting my elbow go out. I'm just putting the club right where I think I want it, which is pretty much right in front of me. I'm not opening the face, but I'm definitely keeping the club in front of me instead of letting it roll over here. If it gets inside, we're gonna pull on the handle and then have to really flip it at the bottom. If it's right here in front of me, I can just push the bounce down, and that bounce push down is gonna end up, boom, right in front of me. So I work this practice a lot with just my right hand. I start most of my chipping practices with just right hand, and then I'll do a few with just left hand. And I feel like I really let it get up and then just push it down. And I'm really letting the weight of the club work through the hand. I'm letting it really flow into extension, letting it really create that extension instead of trying to scoop it up or trying to create that lag and stop it. I just push it down and then let it flow through. Always trying to let the club work down. I'm not trying to help anything up. I'm not trying to de-loft anything. I'm just trying to let the weight work through the hand and feel that nice little push. Hunker down, hinge it to where you want it, let it work through. Soft hands coming through, enormously helpful. Hands stay soft. I will let go of my left hand going back. I will get here, feel like I'm kind of pushing it back or lifting it, creating that hinge in the right index finger and thumb. I will get here, really let go of my left hand. You can see Bobby Jones do this in his full swing. You can see Rory do this in his full swing to get more right side feels. But in utilizing it with the short game as well, we feel like we get there, let go, push. Push that bounce down and through. Pick some fun targets in your apartment, house, living room, backyard, whatever you would like. Hit it over the countertop. Hit it onto a chair. Have a bunch of fun targets because these balls, they're not gonna mess up your house. They're not gonna ricochet all over the place. You're not gonna break stuff. Heck, you can even mess around with taking some fuller swings and bang it into some windows. It's just gonna bounce around a little bit and importantly, give you some practice time, but not injure, break, hurt anything in your house. Hope you enjoyed it. Little quick recap, right hand only or left hand only. In transition for me, I find the most important element of being able to lead with that bounce. Here, push the bounce, just let it work through. Push it, and then you can pretty much just let it go. If you want to hit it further, push it down a little further. We're just trying to push that bounce into it. Once we're here, working this drill a little bit, like bounce is leading coming down and through, and then you can tinker around with a couple of real golf balls, right? Then you can put two hands on it, just don't let that left hand grab it. Up, push that bounce down, let it flow through that hand. Let that arm just get pulled into extension by the momentum of the club. Always pushing down. Hope it's helpful, hope you enjoyed it, hope you love the wiffle ball as much as I do. The thing is pretty awesome. Cheerio, mates.